Garage, good morning to you. Let's talk about this deal that brings Marcus Semien in to play second base on a one-year deal. Very interesting alignment. Not many of us had him going to the Blue Jays. Talk about the deal and the ramifications of it.
Well, not many of us in Toronto had him forecasted coming here either, guys. And it's interesting because it felt like the infield was already a little crowded, and now you add Semien into the mix. This is how I've been made to understand how this thing is going to go. Bo Bichette is going to remain the everyday shortstop. That has not changed. What does that mean for the rest of the middle of the infield? Well, Semien is going to be the everyday second baseman. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who you may remember at the start of last season moved over from third to first, the Jays have him as pretty well the everyday first baseman for now, but he will get some spot starts at third. Now, if you go to Vlad's Instagram page, you'll see somebody who shed a lot of weight. His bio reads Blue Jays third baseman. I would suspect that you're going to see a lot more of Cavan Biggio playing third base this season, although they're going to move Biggio around, not only the infield, but the outfield throughout the season, just like they did last year.
Yeah, it's interesting with Vlad because he played winter ball at home at third base. So if he's thinking he's going to be in the big leagues at first base, I thought he might get a little extra work because he struggled a little bit last year at first trying to learn that new position. What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Harold, let's remember, they come back for summer training camp, and that's when they moved Guerrero to first base. So he had, two and a half weeks of camp to get ready to learn a new position. And, you know all the nuances to it, everything from the cutoff and now with the shift. There were a lot of growing pains there. But Vlad went into this offseason hell-bent on wanting to show management, hey, I can play third. I can return there. And again, he has really gotten himself fit this offseason. But now with the Semien situation, it's going to go with Semien and Bichette. The plan is anyway up the middle and Vlad at first. He will play some games at third. Now, can Guerrero work himself into being more of a third baseman? I guess that remains to be seen. But as we sit here on the 27th of January, I would say the opening day lineup has Biggio at third and Vlad at first when you talk about the corner infielders.
Arash Madani of Rogers Sportsnet, our guest. Let's talk about some of the, some of the lineup choices that Charlie Montoyo's got in front of him now, Arash. I mean, you could do a lot of speculating here. I mean, a lot of options. How would you put together a 1 through 9? What do you think it's going to look like on opening day?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of variety to it. And yeah, a lot of options for Charlie. There's no question there. I think any way you look at it, Springer is going to be either batting leadoff or in the 2-hole. And what the Blue Jays are hoping for is for Guerrero to be their cleanup hitter. That is ultimately their hope. And if so, Bo is going to be in the 3 spot. So that's one way that can shake down. You see Cavan Biggio hitting 8th. He very well could be the leadoff hitter or the number 2 hitter in the lineup. So this is scenario 1 that you look at Springer, Semien. That could also be reversed. They could have Semien hitting leadoff and Springer from there. If we look at another scenario, it's going to still be Bichette and Vlad right there, but maybe Semien moves further down the lineup. I find what's interesting there, guys, is Rowdy Tellez in the 8-hole.
Yeah.
There are DH at-bats to go around. What can Rowdy Tellez be if he gets 500 at-bats this season? I think that's something the Blue Jays really want to sink their teeth into and discover themselves. So ultimately, what the Blue Jays would love is for Vlad to be the cleanup hitter. Obviously, Teoscar had a huge season last year, winning the Silver Slugger too. So this just gives them options. This just gives them so much flexibility. But expect Springer to be 1 or 2 in the lineup more nights than not.
Well, a lot different than Cito's lineups. Here it is. Every day, boys. Good luck. We're going to win a title. Hey, I want to move on from that, though. Where will they be playing? Because last year we saw them in Buffalo. We know what's still going on with the pandemic, that crossing the border is not happening. Where do you see the Toronto Blue Jays playing this year?
Well, the Toronto Raptors, Harold, are calling Tampa home. They're playing in Emily Arena where the NHL's Lightning play. And I would suspect that the Blue Jays are just going to be down the street in Dunedin at their training stadium. I think that's where the season will start. Now, the organization is hopeful that at some point in the summer, they may be able to return to Toronto. Who knows what the number is going to be like with COVID? Who knows what the border is going to look like at that point of things? But I would suspect that opening day, late March, April, May, the Blue Jays are going to be calling Dunedin home. They just did a big renovation, not only to the stadium, but they have a state-of-the-art practice facility, training facility down the street from TD Ballpark. So I would expect Dunedin to start with the hope that maybe they can get back to Toronto in the summer. But to me, all signs are pointing that there's no way they open the year in Canada.
Arash, before we let you go, we were speculating about James Paxton's free agency. We know the longstanding love affair the organization has had with Native Canadians. I'm not sure that the current administration is so big on that as past GMs and club presidents had been. But what about Paxton coming back to Canada as a Blue Jay?
I think that's something that the Blue Jays are definitely interested in. They want to add another starter or two. I mean, look, they've spent a lot of money this offseason. $185 million, give or take. Robbie Ray has been brought back. He's somebody they hope to eat up a lot of innings in the rotation, a couple of relievers. But in addition to Hyun-Jin Ryu, and who knows what's going to happen with Nate Pearson, they need themselves a couple of more starting arms. And Paxton has been in the conversation. Matter of fact, somebody in the organization texted me this week. They said, maybe you can tell Paxton to give us a hometown kind of deal, LOL. I mean, he's definitely on their radar. He's definitely somebody they're interested in. I think the passport helps guys, but it's the cherry on top. I think they like Paxton as a pitcher. I think they like his experience. They know he's somebody who can go and eat up some innings for them. So he is definitely on the radar. Whether or not they get something done remains to be seen.
Wow. So this is interesting where the Blue Jays are at. I'm still a little perplexed with the Semien move. And here's why. Because you got the young players you so well documented, but Biggio, Bichette, and even Guerrero fits in this mix now, in a sense. And I wanted to see them play every day. And it seems like he puts a wrinkle in there with this move. How are they looking at this organizationally of the young guys accepting the fact that somebody might be taking their time?
Well, I mean, Harold, I think it's a couple of layers to this and angles to this. One, you have a guy who in 2019 finished third in MVP voting. Over the last 2 years, his WAR is what, like 9.4 or something? For $18 million, he gives you a huge bolt to your lineup. He gives a jump to what you're doing offensively. He is going to help some young kids. There's another adult in the room. Right now there's a whole bunch of kids in that clubhouse. Most of the vets are the pitchers. Now you add Springer, now you add Semien. That's an important dynamic to all of this.
Yeah.
But it's also a one-year deal. And the one thing with Cavan Biggio last season, I think Biggio played 5 or 6 different positions defensively over 60 games. They want to use him all over the diamond. So they want to improve their defense altogether, their run prevention. That's what they talked about from the beginning of the offseason. Up the middle now, look at the upgrade that they have with Springer, with Semien, and he can only help Bichette get better as a defender. So when you talk about the offensive jolt, I think when you talk about improvement with defense, I think when you talk about the veteran presence, and the fact that this dude was an MVP candidate not all that long ago, and you're only committing to 1 year at $18 million, I think there's just upside on a lot of levels there.
I like the leadership thing you talked about. He's a great person.
Good information from Arash Madani. And by the way, best home setup of anybody we've had on the program. I like the concrete and the cherry back there. Perfect lighting. Way to go.
You're looking smooth. You're looking smooth, man. That is for sure.
High style points for all Canadians is what I've said for many years.
Oh, yeah. Canadians bring it.
Look at the Vince Carter dunk contest over my left shoulder down there. That's kicking it back old school.
Good stuff, man.
I'm not sleeping on the sweater either, man. That's nice.
Arash, thanks for being with us, man. We'll talk to you again down the road.